Joining me now to speak about this and much more, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Hey, Shannon, great to be with you as always.
Okay, so let's start there in the Middle East because you are trying to get something to the floor that deals with the ICC. There are a number of international bodies that are condemning Israel or the Prime Minister, in their case asking for arrest warrants. It seemed like the White House was interested in doing something that would push back on the ICC. Now it seems that they have changed course. That's not going to be the case. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Michael McCaul says this: we want something that can become law. We're not really interested in a messaging bill. And it sounds like there is bipartisan agreement in doing something to push back on the ICC. But with the signal we're getting from the White House now, what could you pass that you think the president might sign?
Well, we hope to actually determine that by this afternoon. These negotiations have been ongoing with our Democrat colleagues, and we are working very hard, as Chairman McCaul indicated there. We don't want this to just be a political exercise. We think it's important for Republicans and Democrats to stand together and send a message to the international community that the abuses of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, cannot be allowed to go forward. And the idea that President Biden would backtrack on that, he would disagree with us, that we should impose sanctions on ICC officials when they are threatening to arrest the Prime Minister of Israel and the Defense Minister of Israel in the midst of their war for survival is, to us, unconscionable. So, look, I hope that the White House sees the light on this. We've got to do this, and we need to do it next week. And my intention is to bring that legislation to the floor. If we have to do it Republicans only, we will. But I certainly hope the Democrats will come along with us on it.
Well, and you did get Democrats to come along now on this invitation to Prime Minister Netanyahu to come speak and address Congress. You did get Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to join when it seemed like they may not at one point. But not everybody's excited, including Democrat or independent Senator Bernie Sanders. He says it's a very sad day for our country that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been invited by leaders from both parties to address a joint meeting of the U.S. Congress. Netanyahu, he calls him a war criminal, says he's not going to attend. He does in a fuller statement say Israel's got a right to defend itself, but not to kill tens of thousands of civilians, destroy universities, hospitals, homes. How do you respond to his characterization?
Bernie Sanders is parroting the talking points of Hamas and the Ayatollah in Iran. If that's the side he wants to choose, so be it. Our Democrat colleagues have to make a choice. Are they going to stand with our most important ally in the Middle East at this most desperate time, as has traditionally been the case in Washington? We've had bipartisan agreement that we have to stand in solidarity with Israel. Or are they going to take this new side and stand with Hamas and the Ayatollah? Bernie Sanders has chosen a side. I hope that our other colleagues in the Democrat Party will stand up and do the right thing. We desperately need it. Israel desperately needs it. I spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu as recently as Wednesday about all of this, and he's deeply concerned. You know, we did issue that invitation for the joint address to Congress. I'm really grateful it finally went out. I would note that I sent the draft of the letter, the joint letter, back in mid-March to Chuck Schumer. It took him quite some time to agree, but we have finally gotten that done. Prime Minister Netanyahu is anxious to come and address us, and I hope that we can get that scheduled here in the coming weeks.
Okay, I want to get to the Trump verdict and talk through that, but quickly want to ask you about the news this morning. We've confirmed that the White House saying the president is going to take executive action on the border. You've been pushing him on to do that for a long time. We don't know what it is yet, but do you give him credit for at least taking that step?
I don't, Shannon. It's too little, too late. Now he's trying to desperately show the American people somehow that he wants to address the issue that he himself created. We documented 64 specific executive actions that President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas at DHS took over the course of the last 3.5 years, beginning on the first day that President Biden took office to open the border wide. They did it intentionally, and it has had catastrophic effects upon our country that we'll be living with for decades to come. And now he wants to issue some sort of executive order, I guess, to show that, oh, no, he really does care about the issue. The only reason he's doing that is because the polls say that it's the biggest issue in America. Every state's a border state. I've traveled to over 29 states, done events in 117 cities as of yesterday over the last 6 months. There is an energy out there. People are motivated. And the first question that comes up in almost every public forum is, what about that open border, and why in the world would President Biden allow it? He did more than allow it. He engineered it, and everybody knows that.
Okay, we'll see what he spins out, we think, as early as Tuesday of this week. Now, I want to ask you about the verdict. Clearly, you think it's a travesty, as many people do. And I think, having watched the trial, there are many grounds, fertile territory for the Trump team to use on appeal, but that's going to take time. In the meantime, there are a number of Republicans out there saying, you guys need to turn around and do this same thing. John, you writing this: Republicans have to bring charges against Democratic officers, even presidents. Only retaliation in kind can produce the deterrence necessary to enforce a political version of mutual assured destruction. The other side, Peggy Noonan, writing about how high the temperature is, says this: we have to ease up. We have to stop enjoying our hate so much. We can't go on indefinitely like this. Are you worried that Republicans will be perceived as doing the very thing you're accusing Democrats of using the legal system for political purposes, if you follow John Yoo's advice?
Here's what I believe, Shannon. Listen, we are the rule of law party. Chaos is not a conservative value, and we have to fight back, and we will, with everything in our arsenal. But we do that within the confines of the rule of law. We believe in our institutions. We are conservatives, and we are trying to conserve the greatest country in the history of the world, and its institutions are an important part of that. Our system of justice is an important part of that. So what we'll do with our tools that we have in Congress, in the House, is we'll use our oversight responsibility. We've already done that. You saw our Judiciary Chairman, Jim Jordan, issue requests for Alvin Bragg, the DA in Manhattan, and for the lead prosecutor, Colangelo, to show up for a hearing on June 13th in our Select Committee on the weaponization of the federal government, because that's what they've done. And the purpose of the hearing is to investigate what these prosecutors are doing at the state and federal level to use politics, political retribution in the court system to go after political opponents of federal officials like Donald Trump. That's a really important thing for us to delve into, and we're going to look at Special Counsel Jack Smith, who we believe is abusing his authority as well. We have the funding streams, we have mechanisms to try to get control of that. We'll be doing that within the confines of our jurisdiction, and I think that can have the desired effect and show the American people we're not going to tolerate this. Shannon, at the end of the day, people are losing their faith in our system of justice itself, and that's a serious threat.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but I want to quickly ask you about something that may need clarification. You said on Friday you think the Supreme Court should step in. You said, I think that the justices on the court, I know many of them personally, I think they're deeply concerned. Now, one of your critics out there, somebody who covers the court with me at part of the Supreme Court press corps, Mark Joseph Stern, wrote this. He says, fascinating to hear the GOP Speaker of the House admit to having private conversations with multiple justices who express concern to him about Trump's conviction. I'm sure those justices will recuse from any eventual appeal to avoid sitting on a case they've prejudged. I didn't take your comments to mean that specific conversation, but want to give you a chance to clarify.
No, thank you. Of course, I haven't had conversations with the justices. I just know their character, their personality. I know what they've said in the past. They are deeply concerned, as we are, about maintaining our system of justice. If you walk into the Supreme Court building, Shannon, you and I know, chiseled on the marble above the front door is equal justice under law. They are concerned about maintaining that idea. We all are, because it's a necessary ingredient to keep a constitutional republic. That's what I was referring to. I think they're concerned about using courtrooms for politics and political retribution. We all are. We all should be. Every American. That's what I was referring to, and I think in their heart of hearts, they're concerned about it just like we are.
Well, we'll see if the Trump team takes a more expedited route trying to get to the justices and see how that plays out. Mr. Speaker, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate you.